So then the next piece that you've released is also a collab. This is where Rarity finally sees the light of day, and the work on Rarity was very drawn out, and I believe it began around the same time that he started all of the other collaborations, but was not finished until a long time since. I would argue that Rarity is the masterpiece of all pony music ever released, ever. I want the whole story, from conception to finish, Rarity.
Are you sure? I mean,
The fabric between your hooves and extension of you, pulsing with pretty melodies under the sun. You know, as you move along the plane, it's
are you aware of what you're asking? Because that's like a year's worth of things.
I am fully prepared to take responsibility for the consequences of this request.
Right. So grab your blanket, grab your pillow, grab your tea or your beer or whatever. Shit, you need a bottle. Need a bottle for this one. But okay, well, I don't know. I mean, if there's anything in particular that you want to know about it, you better ask me, because I'm just gonna like start from the moment like So Great and Powerful came up to me. It was like, hey, let's do a song. And I think I was the one that sent him the first demo. Like I was just plinking away on the piano and trying to come up with something that sounded like something So Great and Powerful would do, which in hindsight is probably not the best way to start a collab, or at least I think of it that way. But yeah, I mean, back then we didn't have any idea what we wanted to do. Like, it was just a blank, unlimited canvas, and for the first few stages of its construction, it was just like both of us feeding off what the other have done and building up over that with no clear intention or direction. And at some point we did have to sit down and talk like, well, what is this actually going to be about? And I think it was So Great and Powerful that said that he thought Rarity was an interesting enough character to try to do something with it. And our initial idea was that we were going to try to portray both her positive traits and her negative traits, but we didn't actually end up doing that because So Great and Powerful couldn't bring himself to talk shit about her, so we just scrapped that. Ultimately, I think it just ended up being about, you know, Rarity's journey through the world of fashion and along the road of achieving her dreams, and how that stands with respect to her friendships and the rest of the relationships in her life. Our work was not focused at all, and I think it shows. For starters, in the length of the song, we were just really doing things because we were excited to do them. Like, hey, this part sounds nice after your part, let's do this. And hey, I want you to sing in Spanish. Like, what? No, I don't want to sing in Spanish. Please sing in Spanish for me. Okay, I'll sing in Spanish for you. And at some point, we're just like, hey, we got this big mess on our hands right now, and we still don't know where we're going with it. It's getting out of control. We're gonna have to put a stop to it at some point. And we're like, holy shit, you're right. Well, let's try to make the most epic ending ever. And that's when we started brainstorming. Like, we're like 5 minutes in, and we still couldn't see the end of the thing. So yeah, we were shooting ideas back and forth. There were accordions involved at some point, and really weird breakdowns. I don't know. It was kind of messy, but at the end we just ended up, I sent him the idea for what ended up being the last few minutes of the song, and he liked it enough to end it on that note. So yeah, that's what we ended up doing. We were collaborating between, I think it was February and May of that year, and at that point he was also doing all these other collabs with Face Explodey and Silent, at least if I remember correctly. But he was rushing to just finish everything because not too long after that he was going to leave the state for an internship, and he was not going to be back for a few months, and he was going to be away from his music stations, so he wasn't going to be able to keep working on what we were working on. So by the time he left, he had already finished his song with Face Exploding with Silent, and we had already finished at least the main structure of the song. Like, it already had an end, and it was just an issue of cleaning and finishing arranging it and recording final vocals and whatnot. So at that point he said, hey, I trust you enough to finish this. And I didn't, because I was kind of burned out, so I wrote Panoramic as a reaction to that. And after I was done with that, he was back from his internship, and I had planned to finish over the reels by the time he got back, but I didn't. So when he came back, I was still struggling to finish over the reels, and then he started doing his season 2 songs. So even though he was back, we were just doing other stuff then that seemed more exciting to us at the time. So though we talked about taking Rarity back, he was just not feeling up for it, and I was trying to finish all this other stuff. And then Sorry 52 got in the way, and so kept on doing his season 2 stuff, so it just kind of Rarity got kind of pushed to the side. And it wasn't until Sorry was done that I went up to him and was like, well, you know, I really like this thing that we were doing. I don't know if you still want to do it, but I think it'd be a shame for it not to see the light of day. Can I just polish what we have and send it out? It was like, sure, yeah, whatever, you can do what you want. You have complete creative control over the thing. I'm okay with whatever you do. So that's what I did. To be honest, I'm kind of happy that he didn't want to work on it again, because for the briefest time, he did talk about wanting to work on it again, and he wanted to make it like 3 minutes long. And to me, that was absolutely horrifying, because I really liked everything we had done so far. So personally, I'm kind of glad that he didn't actually do that. But you know, maybe if he did, the song would have been even more amazing or whatever than what it is now. I don't know. I'm happy with what we had at any rate.
And so Rarity was the first song that was sort of a true collaboration with you and another artist. What are some things that you can take away from that experience, things that you've learned through the process of collaboration?
Well, oh man, there are definitely a lot of things that I learned, not just about music, but just about dealing with people in general, in a creative context and outside. And I did learn some other things about myself and some other things about just making music in general. But you know, I learned, you know, just seeing how So Great and Powerful works. I took some tips about his way of organizing stuff and attacking some parts of the music, and I hope I'm able to say that I learned a bit about sort of etiquette when it comes to collaborating on something with another person creatively.
Is there any particular friendship lesson that we can take away from this?
Rein your inner control freak. It's probably for the best.